All right, welcome to our Monday morning setup. I am Maya, and yes, it is a holiday for me, so I am taking over, giving Jen O and Jen K a break from facilitating these Monday morning, and Katie sometimes does Monday mornings too, but giving them a little break, and so it's fun to be with you here on this day off, spending some time again, Memorial Day, celebrating and remembering and honoring those heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice for us. So thank you for being here with me, setting up this last week of May. I cannot believe we have whirled through the month so quickly. Where does the time go, right? It's always so, I don't know, time just, the days are long, but the years are short, right? So, I did want to mention that Meha is doing several different little 45-minute webinars. She has some afternoon times and some evening times next week. So there's some on June 3rd and some on June 5th. I am going to be stage managing the evening ones, and I think Jen O is going to be stage managing the morning ones, but they're really fun. She's tackling some different ideas around burnout and feeling stuck and work life balance and analysis paralysis, right? And while she does talk about our fabulous life coaching program that helps with these things, you don't have to be subscribing to that to get something out of these webinars. She gives lots of really great advice, lots of fun information. She'll give you some special discount codes for our life coach. But again, you don't have to be doing that. And these are absolutely free for you to attend. And it would be great. And if you are using the life coaching, it'd be great to have you there. You can kind of talk about how you've been using that. And you can maybe even kind of play around with it while you're on the webinars and kind of see. So take advantage of that next week, because I think those will be very fun. And I look forward to maybe seeing you there. And Jen is dropping in the Eventbrite link, or you can scan that QR code and go to the Eventbrite page where you can sign up for free. And Nicole, I would sign up for the ones that you want, because I believe even if you can't attend, they will send you a recording so that you can watch it later. So I would recommend doing that, because I'm pretty sure they'll send a recording so that you can watch that later. So yeah, absolutely do that. So I know sometimes the webinars don't always work with everybody's busy schedule. So, but recordings, while you don't get the fun in the chat, it still is kind of the next best thing to be able to take a look at that later. And I'll be honest, sometimes I like to watch recordings of things because I can speed them up. I like to speed them up like 1.5 times so that they go a little bit faster. But yeah, I do miss the fun in the chat. But again, we take what we can get, right, with our schedules. So again, welcome. I don't know if anyone is new to Silk and Sonder or new to these socials. If you're new, you could pop a little me or I'm new there in the chat. So we want to welcome you to our socials. This is our weekly setup. We usually do 3 of those. We do Saturdays, Sundays, and Monday mornings, where we help you kind of get in gear for the week, get things all set up. So keep in mind that you're not on camera. You don't have to worry about that if anything's going on in the background. I can't hear you. You don't have any of your mics are not on. So if there's some chaos going on in the background, as I know sometimes there are, that there is, you don't have to worry about that. It's just me. And also in the chat helping me out is my fabulous co-facilitator, Jennifer O. She is down in Texas. She will be keeping an eye on the chat if you have any questions, if she needs anything, or if you need anything from her. She's popping on and giving a little wave there. And I am here in Denver, Colorado, where it rained. We had big thunderstorms last night. We've still got some rain this morning, which is good, helping things grow. But it's also kind of chilly. It was only about 45 when I woke up this morning. So goodness, right? Like, wasn't quite ready for that at the end of May, but I know that happens sometimes. And just a few little tips and tricks. Make sure that you set your chat to everyone, that little blue box in there. Make sure it says everyone. It has an obnoxious tendency in Zoom to flip back to host and panelist. And when it does that, the only people that see what you write are myself and Jennifer, which is fine if we're the only ones you want to be talking to, but just keep that in mind. And we'll usually kind of remind you that you want to flip that back. And then just some community guidelines, right? We want to make sure that you're kind and courteous to both yourself and others. No hate, no promotions or spam. We respect everyone's privacy, no hate speech or bullying. We limit those repetitive product and accessory questions. It's fine to ask about, pins that don't bleed through or where people get their stickers, but the best place to ask those questions is in our Sonder Club app, because then folks can post links and pictures of the different things that they use. Speaking of links, if there's ever any links in the chat, sometimes they are clickable, sometimes they're not, because again, it's a Zoom thing. So screenshots will be your friend throughout throughout our time together. So if you want to screenshot or take a picture with your camera of kind of the slides or a web link in the chat, so that you can remember, that's always there for you too. Redirect any of those customer care inquiries to our team at hello@silkensonder.com. So if you have billing questions, if you have a mailing question, like you haven't gotten your June journal yet, or you need to update your billing information, those all go to hello@silkensonder.com. Jennifer and I do not have access to your account, so we can't look anything up for you. But they will help you there. Just keep in mind, they're a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. They're off today for the holidays. So just a little patience is always helpful. And then ultimately, remember, these socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community. And we have a fabulous community here. But ultimately, you're responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So if there's anything that we're working on in the journal that just isn't your jam, like you're just not into that page or into that section, feel free to do whatever you'd like. Heck, if you just want to hang out in the chat and chat with people, you've carved out this time for yourself. So do what you need to do. I saw some people saying they're working on their cup of coffee. So cheers to you. If you want to work on your coloring page, whatever, this is your time. I always stress this is your time. Don't feel like you're pressured to do anything correctly or the right way. Again, this is your time to do what you need to do. So if my voice isn't your jam, you can always mute me. We have closed captioning enabled, so you can see that. If the music I'm playing isn't your jam, you can always mute that, right? Again, this is your time. Oh, thank you. Nicole says I'm always her jam. I appreciate that. But I know, not everybody likes everybody, right? That's why we have different facilitators, different things, different personalities, and that's what makes the world fun. So again, I appreciate you all being here with us as we work on this last week of May and this last week of simplicity. Not to say that simplicity goes away after this month, but this will be our last week with that theme of simplicity. And also, some of you may have decided to already switch into the June journal, which is absolutely fine, because this week actually is in the June journal. So totally up to you, however that you want to do that. So it's been kind of fun to see how folks are really kind of digging into this idea of simplicity, thinking about, is it minimalism? Is it just really kind of culling away and really digging into the things that we really find important and the things we really want to pay attention to. It's always interesting how many things kind of tend to clutter our lives with little things we say yes to that maybe saying no might have given us a little more simplicity. So it's been kind of fun to visit this idea of simplicity this month. So our agenda for this morning is we are going to do our last simplicity mind map. So if you're new, on the week setups, we do a mind map where we dig into the theme, and we always have a little question for you, a little prompt to write about. We'll do our rosebud thorn activity where we reflect back on this last week, and then we'll do those 2 weekly setup pages. And I always like to use these 2 little cartoons, if you've been with me before, to emphasize a couple of different points. The first one is there's room for you here just as you are, that little pile of kittens. If things are going great, we love to hear the things that are going great. We love to celebrate with you. We love to hear those fun things that are happening in your life, but we know life really isn't always a series of ups, right? We've got those those downs. And so if things aren't going well for you, if you're struggling with something, feel free to share that as well. Sometimes just hearing somebody else say, oh, I hear you. That happened to me too. This too shall pass, right? Like that's got to be so hard. Share that as well. There's nothing, it's not the idea of things being too, and I don't want to be a downer, or I don't want to make people feel bad with my celebrations, right? No, 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 no. There's room for you here just as you are. And that's what you're here for. And then speaking of feelings, the way you feel matters, and no emotion you feel is bad or unworthy. So nobody can tell you, oh, you shouldn't be mad about that, or oh, you should be happy about that, right? Doesn't work that way. Can't nobody can dictate our feelings, and they just are what they are, and we're here for all the feels, right? We're here to share that and share the joy in the chat. Also, speaking of the chat, sometimes it gets rolling a little fast. There's usually over 100 people here with us, and sometimes it can get scrolling, gets a little stressful. Turn that off if that's too much for you, right? You can just work in your journal. Some people log in and they nose and journal, right? They're focused on filling that out. They ignore the chat. Other people, they're like, I'm here for the chat. So they hang out in the chat and they're sharing things in the chat and getting ideas and jotting them down on sticky notes, and then they'll fill out the journal later. Some people do a little mix. Some people, it depends on the day, right? But again, this is your time. So do what you need for you, right? And Nicole's like, I'm feeling like I'm here for the chat mostly today. Absolutely, right? It is there for you. So we just are glad you are spending a little bit of time with us. So let's dive into that mind map. And so this is on a blank page in your journal. If you've been doing it with us, this is week 4. We're really thinking about this. We've been exploring this idea of simplicity in our lives. And so week 4, what we want you to do is to imagine your life 1 year from now. So next May, right? May 2026, which will probably be here before we know it. And imagine your life 1 year from now having intentionally embraced simplicity. So all the things you've put in place this month, all the things you've culled away this month, what does that feel like? What does your daily life look and feel like a year from now? So you can do this different ways. You can maybe just do some bullet points of things that you see. You could maybe write a little letter to yourself. So here's some ideas, some things that ways you can approach this little prompt, right? So maybe you want to start with a very broad vision. You want to set the scene, express this overarching feeling of simplicity, what simplicity has meant to you, maybe what it felt like at the beginning of the month and what it feels like now, and what you're hoping it will feel like a year from now. Maybe you want to detail your morning routine a year from now. This is what your mornings look like, highlighting how simplicity has transformed them. Think about what you don't do as much as what you do. Describe your work and your daily activities. Has simplicity impacted your work or your main daily activities? What's different a year from now than it was? Oh, good. I'm glad, Chris. A couple of folks, Dawn's saying this is a perfect prompt for the mid-year check-in. Jennifer is saying, I was actually contemplating this very thing this past week. Maybe we want to outline our evenings and our leisure time. How does simplicity shine now in evenings and leisure time? We want to reflect on the feel and the benefits. We can conclude this little prompt by summarizing the emotional and psychological benefits of this simplified life. What does it feel like? And then you can also wrap it up with the reflection that centers your emotional experience, right? It's like saying something like, it's not that life became perfect, but in stripping away the unnecessary, I uncovered ease, and that ease has become my favorite rhythm. So again, you can write a little letter to yourself. Again, you can do it as bullet points. And then I also like this one. I love Jomo, and I love this little frog just chilling on his lily pad, kicking back, right? The joy of missing out, right? We know FOMO is the fear of missing out, but Jomo is the joy of missing out, feeling content with staying in and disconnecting as a form of self-care. So I love the idea of maybe thinking has replace the FOMO next year, right? And simplicity isn't just about doing less. It's really about choosing wisely, which I'm a big Indiana Jones fan. So that's the little choose wisely, the little knight in the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade movie, which is coming back to theaters in June. Just so you know, there's a Fathom Events. So I'm going to be seeing that. I love seeing movies in the theater, right? But think about opportunities you said no to, habits you've released, commitments you didn't renew, or digital noise that you silenced. Maybe you unsubscribed from some things. Maybe you took some apps off your phone. And what is that going to feel like a year from now? So I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to play some music and then I will let you work on this. Feel free to share in the chat however you're imagining answering this prompt, and then we'll check back in and keep moving on.
Woke up with sunshine dancing on my face, coffee in my cup, starting up the day. Footsteps on the street, music in the breeze. Every little moment feels like it's made for me. At light, I glass orphan. It's the simple joys that lift me high. Sunny days and laughter in my sky. Dancing feet, a song to sing. Heartbeats racing with everything. I don't need much to feel alive. Just simple joys to light my life.
Oh, right. Nice job reflecting on what things are going to look like next year. And one thing you might want to do is take a picture of this or save this somewhere. Maybe even write it if you wrote it down on a separate piece of paper, mail it to yourself, save it for later. I know there's a website where you can do like a letter to myself and you can actually set it up to send you an email like a week later or a month later or a year later. If I find that website, I'll share it with you. But this is a fun thing, just kind of thinking about what does next year look like. You've embraced this idea of simplicity. A lot of you talked about saying no to things that don't bring you joy, clearing things out, clearing out the clutter, the digital clutter. I know a lot of you were talking about the phone, right? And it really, I mean, there's a lot of research that talks about those dopamine hits that we get from the notices, the dopamine hits we get as we scroll. don't think for a minute those social media apps aren't engineered to keep you on them, right? They literally, psychologically, with your brain, they are geared to keep you scrolling, to keep you on there. I catch myself saying, I got to get off the phone. And then 10 minutes later, I'm still scrolling, right? So, excuse me, it is a real thing. So, thank you all for sharing in the chat those different ideas of what things are going to look like next year. So, let's go on to our rosebud thorn, which is going to be on page 50 in your May journal. If you've decided to switch over to June or you don't have a May journal, you're new, it's okay. You can do this in any blank space. Just give yourself that little bit of time. We want to reflect on this past week, really thinking about the things that have made us smile, the things that are coming up that we're excited about. Excuse me, and maybe those things that are not quite so fun. One thing I always recommend doing is if you're like, you're not quite sure what happened last week, scroll through the picture roll on your phone, scroll through your calendar, just kind of give yourself a quick little walk down memory lane. So for me, and I start with a thorn so that I can go on to the more fun stuff. But thorn has definitely, my stress level has been really high this last week. And honestly, this last month, work has got some reorganization things going on that is just not a happy time for me right now and for several other people. So just that stress, but I know this too will pass, but it definitely is the thorn that I don't have a lot of control over, right? I can't, there's some things I can't necessarily change. So, but I know it's there and it's there. So, but today was a day off, so that's good. My bud is something that's emerging, something that's coming up, not this next weekend, but the weekend after. It's another niece high school graduation. Will be in Reno, Nevada for her graduation. So I'm excited to see that. I can't believe she's graduating. Last weekend was my nephew's graduation in Kansas from high school. So it's just kind of a fun time. Graduations are just kind of a fun celebration. So I always enjoy that. And then my rose is we found a new restaurant that's just up the street from us, a Mexican restaurant, and they have amazing food. And we went there Friday night, and then we actually took a friend there last night. And so they were like, "Oh, you're back," and they were like super sweet. So that definitely was really fun. Yeah, their food is really good. So I have a feeling we'll become regulars up there. So that was exciting. So feel free to share your rose, your bud, your thorn in the chat, and we will keep moving on. Hey, thank you all for sharing those rose, buds, and thorns. Definitely, I see lots of graduations happening. I also see folks with some stresses at work, some folks with some family stresses. Family dynamics can be really tough. And I love someone said, kind of trying to keep the peace and deal with the family dynamics really is a labor of love. Really trying to keep the peace, trying to keep things going smoothly when maybe it would be the kind of thing where you're like, I would much rather not have to spend my time with this person. So that definitely sending out thoughts and hugs to everyone who's dealing with those kinds of things, right? Definitely kind of, things changing. I see some folks who are excited about gardening, flowers are starting to bloom. Um, Again, kind of end of school for all of our teacher K-12 folks, school ending, so you get the summer to get things done. So I appreciate everyone spending that little bit of time reflecting on the last week. And these are always good pages to go back to when you do the monthly setups, which I will be doing a monthly setup on Thursday. And you can, so when you have to do the monthly reflection, you can go back to the little rosebud thorns from the week and remember how your month went. So thank you all for spending some time doing that. So let's dive into our weekly planner. We're going to be on page 52 and 53 in our May journals. And the first thing we're going to think about is how we want to feel for the week. So, really kind of picking that intention, how we want to show up for ourselves and the world for the week. So, lots of different words you could put in here. You could use just one word, you could use phrases, you could use a mantra, you could use a affirmation, any of those kinds of things. Here's some different ideas from different folks. For mine this week, I want to feel determined. Determined to kind of get through some of the stuff I'm going through and keep moving on. So just spend just a moment kind of thinking about your feeling. I see folks kind of popping things into the chat. I saw powerful, rested, but energetic. I'll play just a short little bit of music and you can feel free to share those in the chat, and then we'll tackle some of the rest of these sections. Okay, so hopefully you come up with your feeling. I see intentional and focused on fun, those kinds of things. So I love that you're just kind of thinking about how you want to show up this last week. And then if you go down to those goals, right? I love this is such a cute picture. Challenge yourself to reach your goals. That little baby is so excited. Um, think about that feeling and then think about those goals and how can those goals help you to have that feeling, to achieve that feeling as you set these up. So, lots of different ways to think about those goals. Maybe you want to use those intentions that you set on page 9, right? If you haven't had a chance to go back and look at those again, now's a great time. Or your monthly habit tracker on page 11. Maybe you want to set your goals through the lens of simplicity. Again, kind of keeping that simplicity theme going through the week. Maybe you want to set up some no goals. So things like no alcohol, no doom scrolling, no social media. No more than a certain amount of time, no impulse spending, no takeout meals. Maybe you want to look at the previous weeks or journals to see if you have any outstanding goals that you still want to accomplish. Maybe you want to frame these goals around some sort of a personal challenge, so like a fitness challenge or a cleaning or decluttering challenge, a self-care. Maybe it's like a try a new soup or a salad kind of a new meal challenge, those kinds of things. Here's some examples of some things that folks have done, and I put in some of them them with their feelings, right? So someone, I want to feel content, and their 3 goals are delete, delegate, and delight. One person, they want to feel more informed, and then they have a quote for their goals. Main character energy was their feeling, and they want to lean into routines, take responsibility for how they want to feel, follow their peace. Some people, the 3 goals are like be present, be intentional, be joyful. So again, I saw some folks were kind of putting those kinds of things in there. Sometimes people divide it into areas like a work goal, a body goal, and a mind goal. So those are good ideas for ways to do that. And then one person, instead of how they want to feel, they said how they want to be, and they want to be intentional with, and they have with my weekly major 2 goals, right? That's the other thing to keep in mind. You don't have to have 3. You can have 1, you can have 2, totally up to you. And so they want to be intentional with their thoughts and their actions. Excuse me. And then another one has deepen connections, be balanced, be focused. Someone wanted to be invigorated, so they have a mind, body, and soul. One person has delete, delegate, and delight goals. If you don't want to set goals, maybe you want to do some favorite quotes or some podcasts or things you want to read or songs for the week. Explore 3 topics you want to know about, 3 new recipes. Maybe you want to do a bingo board, right? Lots of different things to use for this. So again, play a little bit of music, let you find, set those goals. Feel free to share in the chat and we'll keep moving on. All right. So folks have maybe set some goals. Again, maybe it's only 1 goal or 2. Some people repurpose it in different ways. Like this is a great a great time. I like the fact that weekly is right. We get a new week every week. So maybe you want to try something new this week. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. You can, start something, try something different next week, right? That's the nice thing about having a new week. So now let's move over to those to-dos. I'm actually going to do the to-dos and the one underneath it, the habits and activities, or habities, as I one time said when I was talking too fast. Because sometimes these can kind of be interchangeable, or some folks aren't quite sure which one to use for which. So with those to-dos, we could have, I love some people put a ta-da bingo, right? So they have when they get those done, they can cross those off. It can be just a straight to-do list of the things that you need to get done during the week. One person did a little bingo and they have how to center. They're going to choose 1 to 2 each day and give themselves some different ideas about how to center. One person divided it into things that they want and things that they need. That's a fun way to do it. Then there's also the Eisenhower matrix, which is over on the right hand side. And those are when you have kind of this list of things that you need to do, and then you put them into one of the quadrants where it's something that's important and urgent. You do it, it's important, but it's not urgent. You decide maybe how to put that in, fit that in a different way. It's not important, but it is something that needs to be done. It's urgent. So maybe you can delegate it to someone. And then if it's not important and it's not urgent, you can delete it or delegate it, or well, delegate was the other one. So this one can be delete. Some people call it delay. You don't necessarily have to delete. And then I like the little quote that says, remember, the results you want rarely come without a process of gradual steps toward it first. So, and then those habits and activities, or those habities, are those things that are specific to the week that maybe you want to do more than once, or maybe they have to happen a couple times during this week. So this is a little bit different than the habit wheel that we have for the whole month, where the habit wheel is more kind of things you want to do every day. This is maybe some things that are specific to this week. So some people have things like social media break, some quiet personal time. They took a walk, and I love they changed it to yay activities. Maybe you want to read for 30 minutes, work on your financial journal, work on the life workbook, do some crafts. You could have it be a whole list of different activities that you want to do, like exercise activities. So upper body workout, core workout, lower body cardio, reach the 3,250 steps, and how many times you want to do that this week. Again, you can go back and look at those intentions and monthly habit trackers to kind of figure out what this looks like. Notice you don't have to fill in every single line. It could just be maybe 1 or 2 things that you do. This person filled in 3 dishes, laundry, and do the daily ritual twice. Um, you can also, I like the just say no, right? There's a just say no habits and activities. So they're going to delete emails, they're going to declutter, they're going to have days without sugar, they're going to throw away expired foods. That's a good plan. And a day of no social media. So those are some kind of fun things, ways to do that. I like the one in the bottom where they have a move and it's a W, S, or Y. So they're either going to walk or do some strength training or do some yoga. So they give themselves some options of things that they can do. So I'll just kind of cycle through these to-dos and the habits and activities, or those habities, so you can kind of see how you would like to set this section up. Feel free to share in the chat how you're doing that, and then we'll check back in here in just a moment. All right. Lots of good ideas for things that you want to put in here. I saw there was this one that has the Eat the Frog. Jen dropped in a link that has some more information about the Eat the Frog. But the idea is if you have to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning and then you've done it and it's out of the way and you don't have to worry about it anymore. So that's kind of the idea is kind of identifying your daily frog and doing that first of all. And so I find that sometimes is just really helpful because otherwise you have this thing that's constantly hanging over your head and can be very frustrating. So I love that folks are kind of getting into that idea and it is very helpful. I even got for a while I had some fun frog stickers. So I would always kind of in my journal I would have a little frog and then write out a little sticker and then kind of write out what the frog was for each day. And then you feel very productive too, right? It helps with that getting over that hump of procrastination. So lots of great ideas for how you're going to use that to do and that habit activity section there on page 52. But now let's dive over to page 53 and work on these sections here. And so these sections, really, there's a lot of different ways to do these sections. I will say that the first one, the meal plan, is probably one of our most heavily repurposed sections. A lot of folks are like, what can I do with this? It is a big space, right? It takes up a lot of real estate here on the page. And so obviously you can plan out your meals. You could also track your meals, right? As you eat them, you're writing them down. And a lot of people find that sometimes that's helpful, especially if they're having any sort of physical symptoms, if they're making sure to track what they eat to kind of see how that ties in together. And I know some people have actually tied in the meal plan with their moods and feelings to see if there's something that they're eating that's impacting like energy levels or feeling anxious or stressed to see if there's any relationship between the two of those. But other people have used it. I mean, we have so many examples, but some people use it as a clothing plan. So they'll write out kind of what they want to wear each day, including, accessories, right? So like the earrings or the belt or whatever else that they're wearing. It's also, I find it very good as a packing list. If I'm going to be traveling, it helps me avoid overpacking, right? Because I'll be like, okay, these are the things I want to wear for each day, and these are all the things I need, and that's all I need. I don't need to bring 20 other shirts or whatever for a weekend trip, right? So that can be really helpful. I like one person has meal plan for my soul, and they have themselves a little question for each one. So they say, what are three things I'm grateful for right now? Who are three people I'm grateful for? What's draining my energy? What's been making me happy or calm lately? What's the thing I can add to my daily routine to make me feel good? What is one small goal I achieved today, and what did I do for my mental health today? So those are nice little place to kind of ask yourself some questions. Sharon in the chat is saying it's a place for me to point out my wins for the week. I love that idea. Love celebrating our small wins. Sometimes we don't do that enough. We think it has to be a big thing to celebrate. Not true. We want to celebrate those small wins. We can track health things, symptoms, hopefully schoolwork and homework and lesson plans. Hopefully for a lot of folks that's coming to an end as we're wrapping up and getting ready to go into the summer. But maybe it's some summer things that you want to do. Some folks do it to do their daily scripture, a daily debrief, some journal prompts and responses, their appointments or socials that they plan on attending, that wardrobe tracker, packing list, just a basic checklist. Maybe you're tracking the 7 different types of rest, feels and meals, so how you're feeling and what you're eating, word of the day, your Wordle, your weekly reflection, your chore list, a national day of, every day is like a national peanut butter day or a national whatever day. So maybe you want to track that and celebrate those. Maybe it's a garden tracker, a plant watering schedule, chores that you have to do. Again, wins and achievements, some quotes, a word of the day, your affirmation. You could use this for your daily to-do list, your workout plan, one good thing. Those are kind of fun, and they drew the little pictures in there, so love that. And oops, I'm gonna go ahead and go through. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through all the little areas here because I feel like sometimes people kind of get some different ideas for how they want to use these areas. So I'll go through all of these little areas for you. But so that mind body health little section, different things for people to kind of keep track of or plan things that are good for their mind and or their body. So I like the one they have kind of keep it fun, and they have some fun little things, read a new book or go outside and play. One they just have like movie, text a friend, wash my hair, thank a mentor, fitness, serve others, start fresh. One person has in the bottom, they have their plan and their reality. So how much they wanted to work and what they actually walk and how much they were actually able to walk. I loved the little drawing of the get off my butt. I think that was a nice little reminder to kind of have there. Again, a bingo, girls just want to have fun. Real luxuries, maybe it's good night's sleep, slow mornings, good conversations. So different kinds of things maybe you want to remind yourself. Wordle can go here, a cleaning list. Again, some other things like some self-care things, face mask, reading a book. There's one that has, they have kind of like the national days, National Spider-Man Day, National Ice Cream Sandwich Day. How did I nourish my mind, body, and soul? My feeling, how I'm feeling and what I need based on that feeling. So that's a nice way to kind of divide up that section. Then that little shopping list section, you can, maybe it's just a reminder, no unnecessary spending. Good place for a bingo. They have a yay me bingo, a birthday week bingo, mind, body, heart bingo, self-care shopping list, things that they want to do at night, their little nighttime routine. Oh, and Jen is popping in the National Day of calendar, so you can take a look at that. What's today, Jen? What's today's National Day of packing list, right? Or little reminders of things that they want to have. Oops. Or again, to-do list, chores, intentions, so many different bingos. I love the social check-in where they're going to check in with some different people and they're kind of keeping track of how they're checking in. So if they're texting someone, calling someone, having a face-to-face meeting with these different important people in their life, so they can kind of remember what that looks like. Today, oh, grape day, grape popsicle day, cellophane tape day. Okay, that's an interesting one. All right, so I'll let you work on any of these sections. Again, kind of figuring out like what makes sense for you this week. What kinds of things do you want to track or to remind yourself of doing? What does that look like? Feel free to share. Oh, Jennifer's saying I'm going for the grape popsicle. I love that. I actually have some grape. It's like a little electrolyte drink mix. Maybe I'll go and have that in honor of the grape day. So I will let you work on that, and then we'll check back in and wrap things. All right. So thanks for really thinking about how you're going to use this page. Again, like I said, it really can be, our one facilitator, Katie, calls it the B side because it's not, you don't always listen to the B side of the record, but sometimes you do need it. Sometimes you need it for different things. So hopefully you had some ideas for some different things that you want to do there. So, and then that last little box is the I am loving. So maybe it's a quote, maybe it's something that you're excited about in the upcoming week. I saw this, someone had posted this in Sonder Club, and I thought this was a really nice reminder that it's never too late. You can change your routine, your personality, your career, your focus, your circle. You can change, but don't stay stuck. Do better. So I love that idea of how we can we can change, right? We can change what we're doing from this moment to the very next moment. So I love that idea for all of us. So feel free to share your weekly planner in Sonder Club. I know this is always the fastest hour, that always goes by so quickly, but hopefully you're feeling set up for your next week. And you can see all the examples that I used really are things that I found in Sonder Club, right? So they're actually, they're real live things that real life people have done, right? It's not a marketing creation, right? So make sure that you share if you feel comfortable with those, and you might see yours in a future upcoming social. So hopefully we will see all of you in some more socials that are coming up. Like I said, we're going to start our monthly setups. I do the first one on Thursday, so maybe we'll see you there. You will get you'll get an email with the recording, but also Jen posted the link for the YouTube recordings, which I don't even know how, we probably have close to 1,000 in there, right? Because we've been doing this for 4 years, so lots of recordings. So if you're ever bored, scroll down, find an old one, maybe before you even were a subscriber, and watch that. That can be kind of fun to go through. And then don't forget about the fun little 45-minute webinars that Meha is doing next week. Sign up for those. Again, if you can't attend, they will send you an email with a link in it so that you can watch it later. Lots of great tips, not just for people using the life coach, but for anybody, right? So love to see that. Oh, Desiree, I'm loving my power. I love that. So thank you all again for being here with us. I hope you have a good rest of your day. If you have it off, I hope there's some fun things coming up for you today. Or if you have to go into work, right? That's a thing too, right? Oh, Jen says there's 982 socials on the YouTube channel. Whew, how have we done so many? So thank you again for sharing, and I hope you have a great time. Yes, Suzanne, those events, the 4 events might not be on the calendar. They are in Eventbrite. Jen will pop a link in there that you can go to. You can also scan that QR code and it should take you there on Eventbrite. Hopefully you've also gotten some emails with that as well. So thank you all for being here, and we will hopefully see you again soon.
Out my hand, oh, me say, oh, me tell you to run. On the way, on the way. Nobody say, nobody on. Well, pick me up with golden hand. Oh, me say, oh, me tell you to run. On the way, on the way. Nobody say, nobody on. Well.